Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rutledge, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人张舒，在纽约向您问好。周一美股收低，我们看到今天市场的恐慌指数是攀升至了20点之上，而这也是自2月份以后美国市场这样一个恐慌指数达到一个最高位的位置。另外一方面，我们还看到今天影响市场的主要是由于本周将会有一系列重要的会议，其中包括了美联储的6月的是否加息的这样一个决议，以及包括像英国会否会退欧这样一个公投。所以说总体来说，现在的市场情绪是非常的不稳定。而正是因为这样子的不确定性，很多的投资人我们看到都在寻找一个市场下一步的方向。但与此同时，今天受到关注的还包括了微软收购领英这样子一个重要的事件。微软是以每股196美元，也就是总计262亿美元的价格来收购的这个领英。但我们看到总体来说，科技板块现在依然是拖累着整体的大盘，包括像亚马逊、脸书以及包括像奈飞等等都表现的并不是很好。但如果说市场要走强的话，其实我们非常需要科技板块能够后来者居上。好的，更多的消息让我们来看一下今天交易员的独家分析。Hi Scott, U.S. stocks traded lower today as we have very eventful week ahead of us, the scheduled Fed meeting and also the upcoming UK vote on whether to leave European Union. So it seems like the unknown is creating all this anxiety and VIX climb above 20. So how do you think about the situation?
Well, last week we were trying to figure out, can the S&P hold 2100? And what's great as a technician, you could adjust and you could switch gears. And I would say on Friday, a lot of momentum traders like me got stopped out of a lot of longs. And why did we get stopped out of longs? Because we had a breakout failure. We want to see what that looks like? Let's go to the chart of the S&P. So here was one spot. This was all the way back from November. This was a high here. Okay, you can go right into there. And then you have the 2016 high. So what did we do? We pushed above it and then couldn't hold it. Plus, I talk about the 8-day moving average. We've been above the 8-day moving average since clearing 2060. So for guys like me that are very short term, once we broke below 2105, okay, and lost this area where you had a breakout failure, I got stopped out, and that's why I went into the weekend, basically flat. Not only did we lose the 8-day, we closed near the low, and today what did we do? We actually closed below that horrendous jobs report low. So now tomorrow we'll see if this spot can hold and if the 50-day moving average can be some kind of support. So if you sold when we went back below 2105, you'll have the luxury maybe tomorrow to test the 2070 area, and hopefully, for the bulls, this holds. Otherwise, we could be drifting back lower, which would not be fun as a trader.
Well, when I look around the tech sector, I see a lot of red numbers, but we do have a deal that Microsoft is purchasing LinkedIn for 196 per share. I think that's really expensive. But on the other way, we're looking for the Facebook to break out. So how do you think about tech names?
Well, thank goodness. Okay, Facebook actually gave you a sell signal last week. I've been targeting a long situation, but once it broke below that symmetrical triangle to the downside, it got me out on Friday. But today when I saw the deal about LinkedIn at a $26 billion valuation, I'm like, oh my goodness, Facebook is $330 billion. Okay, that's a lot more than 26. Granted, it's different businesses and it's a little bit apple to oranges, but I thought, we're on top of an earnings gap. It didn't break out, it broke down, so maybe it's a good short. And if you're on the VTF with us, you probably made money short. So if you look here at Facebook, what could you have seen? Okay, it was very tight, right? We were trying to play it here. And I was long it on Thursday into Friday, and I've been trying to be long it a few times. Because what? It was above the earnings gap, showing power, and it was very tight. Okay? But as a trader, you need to switch gears when it changes. Here's your 8 and 21-day moving average. What happened on Friday? There, it broke below. That got me out of it. And then today, it broke into the earnings gap, lost momentum. It's below the 8 and 21-day, below the 50. So, that right there was a bit of a sell signal. Now, I think some people are concerned. $330 billion valuation where LinkedIn got bought out at 26. So we'll see what happens next. And if we start continuing to head lower, that could take some risk out of some of the high valuation names.
On the other hand, commodity continues to be on focus. The oil falls for third straight session, and on the other side, gold hit 4-week high. So how do you think about these two commodities and how do they impact energy sector?
Oh, you know, commodities have been in focus ever since the poor jobs report. So that's when you had to switch gears fast. Okay, oil I don't think is going to be a headwind unless it breaks below 47.50. Okay, got above 50, so it kind of did a breakout failure where it got above 50, it's quickly below it, so now I'd watch 47.50. But as far as gold's concerned, we talk about how gaps could create new moves and gaps can re-energize situations. Well, all in all, the GLDs came back and retested support. Okay, so there you go. And then you had this gap up, and if gap ups don't get filled to the downside, that shows you demand, it shows you buy pressure. Now here we are back near high, so I wouldn't necessarily chase and buy gold here if you didn't buy it here, or if you didn't buy it here, but overall, you know, this move in the GLD is telling you that currencies are still have a lot of volatility, the strength in the yen, this and that, but you know, this is saying usually when you have this kind of strength in metals and like Bitcoin, it tells you to be a little cautious, and that's why you saw probably a big increase in the VIX.
Okay, that's all we have for today.
Yes, and we'll have more tomorrow, and we have to keep connecting those dots. We're in a fast-moving market at times, and when the market changes, you have to change alongside.
好的，感谢您的收看，我们明天再见。